Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome here at Tropical Nomad. This is episode 511. So interesting, last week we had Will Travis from Bali Villas, a boutique property design and management firm that's rewriting the rule book. From professional dancer and actor writing the rule book. From professional dancer and actor, we're going to go into that, to successful agency owner and now property curator. Therese's journey is a powerful reminder. Your story doesn't have to be linear and everything perfect. The final you can learn to embrace the mess and business. For instance, she doesn't rely upon a flashy website, though your website's pretty cool, by the way, or highly curated, over-engineered social media, yet she has a steady stream of happy clients, which just goes to prove your business doesn't have to be big to be impactful. And look, we've got a few takeaways tonight. One is, the overlooked advantages of staying small. Let's reshape that word to boutique. Boutique design essentials that elevate experience, common mistakes in property development, and how to avoid them. Now, join us tonight for a soulful, that word soul will come a lot tonight, a soulful look at what it means to grow with intention, to trust your instincts, and to do business your way. And then me, RobertianBonnick, founder, host of SpeakuP Monday, and PT Carrier Life Group, gateway to Indonesia for business, co-founder of Bali Tourism and Investment Chamber, BTIC. Now this is the first foreign investor chamber in Bali ever. And it's in coordination with and empowered by central government. So we're talking about the Ministry of Investment underneath tourism, regional and local. So we're talking about immigration, BKPM, taxation, and so on, right? So it's very, if you want to join that, by the way, just join the QR code here, more detail. Passionate about the ocean and what it stands for, come and join us, okay? Bali Ocean Days. We've been recognized by the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy of Indonesia, Forbes Business Council, awarded #1 change maker in Bali, and a top 10 motivational speaker in South Asia. That's CEO Insights Asia. Round of applause for that long intro. Thank you so much. All right. Woo! Woo! So now that's the pleasantries done with. So Therese, welcome to SpeakuP Monday, darling.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for having me.
Now, look, Ballina to Bali, as I mentioned before, Byron. But anyone been to Byron, by the way? Anyone here, apart from you, Emery? Yes? Well, there's about 3. Okay, that's okay. Question. So one of the things which I really enjoy about you is this creative energy that you bring. So let's kind of step back to kind of understand a little bit about you before we move on to what it is that you do. So if I would say to you, creativity courses through your veins, right? How has that shown up in the past, and kind of what attracted you to the creative industry, the creative field?
Wow, that's a big and very prominent question for me. Well, my mum put me into dancing when I was about 8 years old, and then I moved into theatre.
Guzman, if we switch the mic up, please. Thank you. Yep. You keep going. It's okay.
And from there, I moved into professional dancing, professional acting, opened up my own studio performing arts in Ballina, choreographed, taught dance, part of the New York Dance Company, acting, training at Lee Strasberg, many, many things. I won't rattle them all off. That's just to say that my journey started young, but it never stopped, and it hasn't stopped. And I think when you're a creative, like a true creative, you cannot stop. It's just in your blood. You can't cut someone open and say, oh, there's their creativity. It just is a part of, it's energy for me. It's just a part of who I am. And no matter what path I've taken, and I've owned businesses, so I understand the business side of life, of business, and being an entrepreneur. But I have a beautiful balance of that as well, and I have the creativity which does lead in my life. And I just, Yeah, I mean, it's just in my veins, like you said. It's just absolutely a part of who I am. And it has flowed through and into everything I've ever done.
You know, we're here in Bali, right? And you know, Bali has this wonderful way of attracting those either in need or perhaps not. Transformation, rejuvenation, healing. Yep. You know, it's a beacon. You know, the ley lines of energy, the culture, the taksu, the energy, right? The vibe, right? Yeah. So perhaps the next question that comes up naturally is, you know, how did you find your way to Bali, and what about Bali resonated with you till you thought, you know what, I want to set up some roots, maybe not in Ballina, but I want to move from Ballina to Bali. What was it about Bali that kind of, I guess, pulled you?
Yeah. So right before coming to Bali in 2016, I owned a talent agency representing over 100 artists. And I had that business, and in fact I held on tightly to that business for about 18 years. And there were many times throughout that period that I felt incredibly stuck and suffocated within that business, because I was at a computer all day, all the time, constantly. Even though I had staff, it wasn't creative enough for me. And when I tried to step out and do something more creative, I continued on with my acting, of course. I just felt really stuck. And then my mum passed. And then I just fell into this like lull of, you know, who the am I? What am I doing with my life? How do I move on from this? How do I let go of this without turning my back on these beautiful artists that I felt so fond of? What is my next step? And something came up in Bali for me to explore. And so my beautiful daughter at the time almost booted me out of Australia onto the plane. She could see I was quite stuck. And I decided to come and explore the opportunity here in Bali. And I know that this sounds really cliche, but the moment that I got off the plane, my hand went to heart and I just went, I'm home. And I never ever expected that. You know, I just never thought that I would feel that way about Bali. And so then I explored the opportunity. That didn't turn out. And I kept coming and going from Bali over the years. And I just also knew in my heart that I wanted to invest here myself. And so that's where the journey began of investing. And the story of the agency, I eventually merged that with another agency who took it over, and I felt completely free. And that allowed space for me to then move into this new chapter here. And I had absolutely no idea that I was going to gently land or leap into, however you want to see it or put it, into this business that I'm now doing in Bali, into investing and building for others in Bali. It was such a shock.
Yeah, you know, we're going to get into more about that in a second, but one of the things that makes me smile as well is that I think many of us here have this origin story about what brought us to Bali and what keeps us here, and I hear these common denominators in your story, right, which I won't talk about now. But the next question that comes up is, so why property? And yeah, I mean, why property? Because of all the businesses, you know, hospitality comes pretty close, right? And that's what most people do here, including myself when we first came here. But why property? And then how did you feel or find that this was the right place for you? Now, the reason why I ask that is because people which are watching now have gone through this. I go to Bali, right? I build a villa. It's like, oh, another one, right? It's a white box, and I go for it, yeah. And you know, the ROI is 25%. Okay, all right, and so on and so on and so on, right? So coming back to the question, then, you know, you're doing things in a different way. So I'm interested to kind of know, for others' insight who may be in a similar position of thinking, is this something which I want to pursue or not? and from your story, they either get inspired or they get kicked to the curb. Whichever way it is what it is. So yeah, going back to the question. So what was it about property that attracted you, and how did you know or feel? Hey, you know what? I'm onto something here that I feel good doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I spent quite a bit of time in Ubud when I came to Bali, Canggu and then Ubud, and kept coming back to Ubud. And I think it was on my second or third trip, my Bali family said, you know, why don't you consider building a home in Bali? You come a lot, etc. And they showed me some land, and I'll absolutely never forget walking to that land. I hadn't seen it, but I knew with every part of my being that this was my land. And I don't know really how to explain that. It was a feeling. And in that moment, I knew I was walking into something that was related to energy, connected to energy, and was way bigger than just me. So I saw the land. It was a jungle. I knew, as I said, I knew. We sat on the floor. I put some money down for the deposit. They wrote me out a receipt on the floor, beautiful Balinese. And I just made a pact with myself that I was going to do this in a way that felt the way that I felt stepping into this journey, stepping into this, honouring them first and foremost as well, because they had done this beautiful thing of showing me this land and bringing me to this experience. And I loved the culture. I loved the people, loved the culture, loved the people. And so I wanted to do it in a way that fully aligned. And that way meant, you know, the Malaspa ceremonies, before you build, after you build, connecting with the Banja, all the ways that, you know, we encourage anyone to do it in Bali. And as I started, jumping ahead, fast forward a little bit, as I started the process, a couple of things here. Maybe halfway in, a couple of people approached me and said, well, I love what you're doing. Will you help me build in Bali? So I was like, ooh, okay. And so again, it was kind of not really something that I had to sit with much. I just knew that this is what I wanted to do. Did I question it? Of course I questioned it. But did it stop me? Absolutely not. And from there, we followed the same process.
You know, so what I'm hearing, just for people here, so, you know, because people are looking to invest in Bali, you know, sometimes, you know, they go through this decision-making process. Let's call it that. Do I do things the right way? Do I do things another way? Let's not go into details right now. But what you're saying then is that, you know, the first thing is that, so you went with the people first, and you honored the land first. You honored the land, honored the people, honored the community that surrounded the land by discussion, right? By going, meeting, offering gifts, ceremonies, and so on, so they could check you out too, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, now presumably by this you checked out the zoning to make sure that that what you wanted to do with the land could be done legally and so on. Okay, so all right, so this is a way that if I ask friends of mine in the real estate industry, they'll go see the Bupati, the leader of the village. They'll ask his permission. They'll say, this is who I am, this is what I'm looking to do, present themselves, right? And kind of ask for permission, almost like back in the day where, you know, if you want to marry someone, you kind of go, and even though you're as scared as you can be. It's like, I've got to ask my girlfriend's, Mike shaking, father for his daughter's hand in marriage, right? So in a similar way, you're doing these things. Okay.
Now, we're super proud of this villa. If anything was going to go wrong, it was there, and it did. And so that, along the way, everything that I went through taught me what not to do. And so I took that. I took that experience, I took those lessons, and that's what I applied for my clients. That's what I still apply for my clients. And that learning does not stop. And Bali has evolved a lot. When I first, leased the land in 2019, it's very different now. Very much than it was, more talk about leasing the land through the landowner directly and not worrying about all the bits and pieces around it. But we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we take the steps, especially now how much Bali has evolved and how much the government and companies, associations are looking into, are you doing it the right way? Have you got the certificates? Are you registered? Et cetera, et cetera. So the last thing you want to do is step into Bali, put your love and money into something that means so much to you, only to realize later, oops, it's not actually done correctly, and now I've either got to outlay tons of money or it's going to be shut down.
All right, now, don't want to get anyone into trouble here, but we're on live TV. It's okay, all right? No pressure. So, from the fields of maybe not what happened to you, but what you've noticed in your clients and so on. Because again, I know you, right? So I know that for you it's about quality, not quantity. For you it's about doing it the right way the first time, as opposed to trying other ways to kind of do things. So you're a stickler for the details. This I know they don't, but I do, right? So please come grab a seat, guys. Yeah, you got one here or over here as well. It's good. Come and join us. Oh, Ronnie, good to see you, mate. Please, yeah. Seeing what you've done is beautiful, right? And so for me, you inspire those ones who are just coming in tentatively and want to do the right thing. They don't want to do it big. They want to start with something small and to suck it and see. Right, and that's why you're here, because I want to show that perspective of the market, not just the guys upstairs who have been this and done that. So from your perspective then, and the clients that you've been helping, what have been, if my brother over here, he wants to invest, right? And he says, Rob, I want to invest. Therese, I put him on to you. So what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that you would say to him? This is a common mistake that people make. Don't make it. And this is how you do it properly. What would you say?
Well, first of all, they don't come to me, so that's the first mistake. There's a few. Let me have a little think. Don't cut corners. Yes, I'm a stickler, but there's openness in that. There's openness in building. There's openness in design. There must be. I'm creative. So where I'm a stickler is saying, please honour the land. Please honour the people. What I do see quite a lot of, and what really hurts my heart, is that people get land, but they never ever really truly connect with the landowner or the community. And they don't ask them, how do you feel about me building this design on this land in your village? Now, it's not to say you're giving away what you want to do. It's showing respect for Bali and for the people. And then I guess it's like, get out of your own way. That's why I'm here. I'm here to mentor, consult, counsel in a way people through the process. And I know you're talking about what not to do. I think that's kind of it. Was there 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah. So one of the most important things is about honouring the land, honouring the people who are the landowners, right?
Yes.
So that's one. If there was one more, and I'll give you a bit of time to think about it, and while you think about it, it's all good. You got it?
I think I've got it.
Okay.
I've got another one.
That's good. Let's go.
So it's don't get caught up in the hype. Rob said it earlier. It looks so polished and lovely on the outside. Let's go to Bali, build a villa. It's only going to cost me 150 grand, whatever. The ROOs are great. But if you don't have something developed that gives you longevity, you are going to be maintaining that property for a very long time. If there is no intention into that property, you're going to run into issues. So be intentional in what you create.
So again, I've seen it, right, Villa Therese. So one thing which I noticed about, well, several things. One was that it's built with elements of a traditional Balinese approach to building, which we're going to get into, which I'd love you to reflect on in a minute. Another one was, as you mentioned, the building materials that you use, invest now, that ensures that the upkeep, the maintenance will be minimized. As opposed to, well, this particular stone looks great at the moment, but in a year or two it's going to look very bad, and it's going to take a lot to basically maintain, for example. So maybe what we can do then is give us a few of those sorts of examples, a bit more detail orientated, the use of the stained glass window. But let's go into the structure, and why did you choose, firstly, what is the structure, and secondly, why did you choose to build in that way which reflects Balinese culture?
So this brings me to what's just come in for me right now, is when I talked about feeling stuck in Australia, I came to Bali and decided to build, and my world opened up. When we put the foundation down on the land, it was very quickly that I could see that I was building the blocks to my new life. And the answer, what you asked, and what I want to say there is that, I'm saying a couple of things here, is that the foundation, number one, is so important, because this is where moisture comes up, right, from the land. And if the foundation isn't done correctly, then that's where rising damp comes in, mold comes in, etc., etc. And yes, it doesn't mean to say that with an amazing foundation and great, building blocks, timber, beautiful timbers, finishes that are considered for all the things that Bali is in many different ways, shapes and sizes. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have some kind of, we live in a very humid place, so we're going to run into some maintenance or some care for sure, but we want to decrease that. And so that is being very careful with who you choose as your contractor, and not just the contractor but the team, because you want to know that your architect, he knows and understands these things, and he works closely with the contractor, that your project manager understands these things and they can check and make sure this is being followed, they're being guided, this is correct, and so on and so forth. And it goes from there right through to interior design, and then after that every single thing connects in order to make the villa or the property or the hotel or whatever it is you're doing, the store, to be strong, to feel sturdy and strong, because that helps you as an individual then be that, and vice versa. Does that make sense? If you're strong, you go in with intention and love in your heart, that's going to turn out exactly how you want it.
All right. In 3 minutes, got questions. So anyone in the audience have a question about 3 minutes, raise your hand. The mic will come to you and you know what to do. So, okay. So one question that has two different offshoots, because we can. Yeah. So why did you choose to build in a Balinese layout? Right? Why did you choose to do that? When it comes to the ceiling, for example, right? The workmanship in that ceiling is phenomenal, and it's very Balinese. Yeah. So yes, we know there's been a few friends on the show which are property analysts, right? Yep. And part what's coming down is that you can either build, a white box, let's say, that has a certain ROI based upon, there are many of these designs out there. Or what you can do is to create something that follows a traditional line, right, that has a unique quality to it. And what you also find as an investor is that if done correctly, that your ROI is protected and has more longevity because it's more unique. Yep. Right? Okay. So then getting back to the question then, so why is it that you decided to build in that Balinese plan, the floor plan? I don't want to say too much, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And for example, the phenomenal workmanship that went into things like the ceiling?
Well, the first answer is because I wanted to honour Bali. And yes, I did want to bring in some modern amenities, some modern touches, but I wanted to honour Bali. And I did a rough drawing, and then I sent it to my amazing architect, and he was the one who helped me align what I wanted to stick to in regards to Bali design, mixing with modern luxury. And I just loved it. Look, it's part of it. I just felt that moved me. And building my whole villa, and as I build for clients as well, it's, jumping around a bit, but when I came to Bali and started to build Sunstone Bali villas, I always felt like I was turning my back on my acting. And I really had a little bit of a tug-of-war with, what am I doing in Bali building villas? I should be in Australia acting. That's what I love. That's my passion. It wasn't until I walked through the doors, and I mean, of course, I was there the whole journey for the build. I did the interior design, etc., etc. When I walked through those doors with my daughter, I felt again what I felt when I was walking to the land. And she helped me realise, Mum, you haven't turned your back on your acting. You've just expanded your creativity. And, it was just such a beautiful thing to hear, and it really, that's it for me. It's an extension of all that I am. And so, coming back to the question, because I wanted to honour Bali, and it's a part of the design that I love. It moves me. Nature, to the ground, to the earth, to the sky, timber, naturals, as much as I can. Beauty, that's how I see it.
Got it. Thank you. So just before we go to questions, now he knows every time he comes, I don't pick on him, but I want to ask, right? See, he told you, didn't he?
He already knows.
So here's why I'm laughing, right? So before we start the show, right, we have a kind of getting to know you session that kind of fills people in the room of perhaps future business partners, future partners in some description, because in an event like this, it always attracts the right people connected to that topic. In keeping there, again, investment banking, hotel design, management, investor, many different types of people here, right? So I love to showcase, because people watching here are watching from overseas as well, right? And I love them to know the extent to which things are happening here in Bali and the diversity of the projects, right? So... So, can I bring this up, or would you prefer me not to?
I can't stop you.
All right, great. So Ronnie and his team, it's called Garden of Life, are curating in harmony with Bali. How many hectares does it cover? 30 hectares of land in Bali, which will incorporate many different facets and elements. If you want to speak to him more, he's sitting right here, so feel free to come and have a chat to him. But what he's doing is phenomenal. I'm a fan, and we've had a podcast about it. But again, so you're talking about from a single villa, built in a very unique way that honors Bali, 3 ara. Correct?
My villa's
yes.
3 ara, yeah.
3 ara, to a space that has many more ara. So that's the extent to which the diversity here in Bali can be, right? Okay. Questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand over here. Great. And over there. So Guzman, if we start with the mics over here. Now, just before you start the question, a little pro forma. By all means, say your name. By all means, plug your company name if you'd like to do that. No problem. But then please come straight to your question so we can fit more questions in and ideally receive more value. For you, my sister, Therese, Feel free to answer the question. I could be mean and say 2 minutes per answer, but let's see how we go. Because you're creative, so I won't do that. So, Mike is with you, Arjuna. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the amazing talk. You mentioned earlier the importance of having the right contractor to either make or break your project, right? So what is a green flag that investors can look out for when choosing a contractor? And what is a red flag that they should also look out for to make sure that they maybe stay away from this contractor?
Ooh. I think I'll draw on my own experience, obviously, but like with my villa, because my contractor is now the contractor for my other clients. I think, look, for me, everything is about feeling. Everything is about energy, right? But if I was to say to someone who wasn't walking the journey with me, how do I know this contractor is legit, does good work? Just go and see the work. And go and see work that is a little bit older, not brand new. Do both, but go and see work that's been on the ground for a little while and just see how it's holding up and what's happening. And, you know, other things come into play, like how you feel about them, how they're connecting with you. A red flag is just the opposite to that. And you know the red flag when you go and see the property and you just think the foundation's not correct, the plumbing. There's a few things that you can tell that aren't quite as aligned as you would desire them to be.
Thank you, Arjuna. Tanya?
So you have 2 properties?
I have one property myself, and then I have another villa that's completed, another one in the making, and I have quite a few clients in discussion.
Okay, so I think my question is, when you first came here, considering your background is completely not what you're currently doing, how did you put all your teams together?
So I'm going to give that to my architect, who I met through a friend who connected me to G'day, his name is G'day Wahana. He might even be here somewhere. And he then put me in touch with, and I had seen his work, and then I had a few contractors from him, and I did just that. I went to see their work, met with them, and chose based on who aligned best with my direction. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great question. Brother G'day, do you mind saying a few words?
Yep.
You mind? Great. So now this is G'day, who she just spoke about.
Oh, hello.
Right?
Hi, how are you? I'm late,
I
sorry.
love putting people on the spot. Put him on the spot. So,
Yeah.
G'day. So, from your name, G'day, you're Balinese.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, my brother.
Thank you.
So, my question to you, my brother, is twofold, right?
Yeah.
One, so great question from Tanya. How did she choose her team, right? And as she informed her, you know, it was thanks to you. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, so then my question to you is the reverse. When foreigners come to you, investors, maybe with, you know, I'll call it out. Maybe they've got, you know, like a Mediterranean. Sorry, guys, I like Mediterranean too. It's okay, but maybe they've got an idea to design something which you feel is not something you want to be a part of, right?
Okay.
So then my question to you then is that how do you decide? And this is in the perspective of foreigners coming here with an idea to build something unique. And they're going to be hearing saying, well, this is a formula that maybe I need to follow to ensure I get good people on board. So the final question then is, what is it that you ask potential clients to discover if they're your kind of people?
Okay. So first thing, because I'm Balinese, basically I know everything about architecture traditional, Balinese architecture traditional. And then, of course, I'm the first thing that I proposed to my client was I will show them my portfolio. If they are not into on my portfolio, basically they just go, something like that. So, like Therese, for example, one of my project in Penestanan Kaja, she knows the client as well. So she talked with her, and then she see what the progress was, and then see the result of my design, and then she like it. So we connect each other. Then that's the basic thing. But when people say basically Mediterranean design, something like that, I can do it, but I will try to drag them, because in Bali we have regulation, right? So, and also we have a different climate with Mediterranean areas. We have rain, we have autumn as well. So everything like for example, like a roof, they have any reason why they put a roof here. So basic like that.
Got it, brother.
Yeah.
And look, last question for you. Firstly, because we haven't met, right? But I appreciate, again, like this is what Speak Up Monday is about, right? We, over the 511 episodes, foreigners, Indonesian, Balinese, 10 different market sectors, mainly leaders, right? But again, I find that there's three things, yeah? One is curiosity. So if you're able to approach the person sitting next to you that we don't necessarily know with curiosity, then the questions that come are those of you trying to understand why they think the way they think and why they hold the view that they do. Humility is an understanding that if I was brought up in the same way that they were, with the same decision makers, ideologies around me, I would probably have the same opinion. And then empathy is then this understanding that we're connected. You know, even though I may not believe what they say, I understand how they've come to that opinion, and I agree with it, but I don't necessarily agree with their view. Right? So we have an opportunity now. Thank you, brother. Good day.
So
we have an opportunity now because, again, there's obviously, we won't go too deep into this tonight, but Bali is under pressure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the number one destination in the world, TripAdvisor, but it's been top 3 for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And what there is now is, you know, some call it overdevelopment in certain particular areas of a certain particular design and style.
Yeah.
Others might say that, yeah, you know, the rules and regulations aren't necessarily being followed, but through the Bali Tourism and Investment Chamber, I understand through meetings with local government that things are being tightened up. Yep. Right?
Yeah.
SLF, PPG, and so on.
Exactly.
Great. So then my question to you, my brother,
Yep.
is, you know, what kind of Bali would you like to see from people, let's put me in the frame,
Yep.
from people like me that come from overseas? My wife is Indonesian, right?
Oh, yeah,
but it's okay, right?
Yeah,
but I'm a guest too.
Yep.
So what kind of future would you like to see for Bali from your perspective?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you talk about that, I will say I want Bali going back to 10 or 12, 20 years before. So, for example, if you go to Sanur, there is the first resort, let's say the first villas in, I can't remember what the name is. Something like that. So it's designed by Jeffrey Bawa. So he's one of my favorite architects. So basically, he tried to blend his design to surrounding, not like bringing other design style or design from other country to here, something like that. So I think there is a lot of example of Balinese design, or let's say not Balinese, like modern architecture with blending with the surroundings, something like that, with natural, more handy and natural materials, not just a box, white box, something like that, what we can find here.
Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate your presence, and thank you for coming.
Sure, no
Right?
worries.
Because again, this is how we find out things, right? We ask the people in the position that can have an opinion, right?
Sure.
Otherwise, we're just running around in circles asking our friends what do they think, but they don't, so I appreciate that.
Thank
now,
you.
questions over here, yes. So if we bring the mic from you, Brother Gade, over here to Brother Michael. Yeah, just walk across, all good. Yeah, thank you.
Pakege just mentioned Batochimba was 16 years ago. Gorgeous.
It's all good.
Point is, first time the people who came to Bali, we came here mostly because we loved the lifestyle. So the villas were owner-occupied mostly. We probably built different at first time. Our build-up area, maybe was maximum 40%. Things changed along the line, more commercialism. We know now everybody talks about ROI. The new word is now oversupply. So my question to Therese is, with your villas, how can you differentiate in this glut of villas? What if I go on a website anywhere, Airbnb or Lux Nomad or whatever is out there, look for a villa, 2-bedroom villa, 3-bedroom in Ubud, I will find hundreds nowadays. So how do you manage to differentiate, and how do you able to market this to your demographic so that people know that you're different?
Now, before you answer that, Ronnie, turn around to Michael, shake hands, say hi, Ronnie, hi, Michael. Yeah, do it.
Hi, Ronnie.
All right.
Yeah, Michael.
You two have a lot in...
We know each other.
I knew it! I was going to say you have a lot in common.
Vegolas to the Lama.
I love it. All right, Sister Therese.
How do we differentiate and stand out in the massive overproduced what's happening in Bali, correct?
And how does the market know it?
And how does the market come to know about it?
I have a little bit of a mantra. I don't advertise, I magnetize. And it does work for me in the sense that I can be just about anywhere and someone will come and meet me and I have a new client. I don't do a lot of marketing, as Rob mentioned at the start, and that is something we are looking at developing a little bit more of. When you see say for example, you don't even come to the villa, but you see the images of the villas, you can tell straight away. You can tell by design, by the materials we use, by the interior. There is a feeling attached to all of that. It's just very different to what you see. I think it is, Rob. You've seen it. It's very different to what you see out there in the mass. So people will stop on it and notice it online and go, oh, that's different. That's not quite beautiful. That is very beautiful. And when you come physically to the villa, you actually feel it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I'm happy to expand if I can.
So let me pass the mic back to Michael. Those two rhyme. So Michael, seek clients. She's not looking for a mass of clients. She's looking for these individuals who want to do things differently. Because you've been here for such a long time, and again, this is about sharing knowledge and inspiration to other people that maybe want to kind of go into this. Is there anything that you've noticed over the years with your experience through being a hotelier here that you've noticed might work for Therese in how to maybe market in a more strategic, conscious way? Is there anything that comes up?
Yeah, most important thing, the market is obviously if you get ambassadors, people who speak positively about your resort, about the people. If I read reviews, mostly people don't talk about how big was the spa. The spa is 1,000 square meter. They talk about the putu, the gades, etc., and how lovely we were, etc. So I think that is critical, and obviously to encourage people to leave reviews there. People still look for reviews. I think that is critical to assist. Generally speaking, if I look, obviously, the challenge is nowadays if you start from scratch and you have to purchase the land or lease the land nowadays, at the inflated rates what they are right now, I think it's very, very challenging, particularly in the saturated areas where we are now, so that the numbers just make sense. I would rather recommend to probably go to areas like we mentioned Munduk, etc., where it's not so saturated and hopefully the land prices still make sense. On top of it, I think it is very critical if you run it commercial to have a certain economic of scale. I think it's very difficult to make commercial with only 2 or 3 sort of rooms or keys, whatever you call it.
Here we go.
And we're back.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is to have a critical mass that I think is quite important, and to differentiate, know who's your demographic, you know, how I attract my demographics, how to position it. If you're boutique, you need to most probably have a high rate. It doesn't make sense, you know, if you have a low rate, you know, go for a higher rate. So obviously with this higher rate, the expectations are higher of the clientele who come in there. Then a hotel, particularly if you're in a hotel, it's a long haul, you know, it's not something what you sell. A hotel is asset heavy because you keep it and you make money after 7-8 years. So you're in for the long game. It's opposite from really selling property. So you have to put your heart and soul in. And the smaller you are, the more hands-on you have to be, because you're going to be everything. You're being the executive housekeeper, executive chef, you're going to be the guest relation manager, you just probably do everything. The bigger you are, obviously you can probably afford to have a couple of people who help you. So there's probably quite a lot of pain, but a lot of joy to it.
Can I just expand on that as well? I have an amazing team, and word of mouth is our biggest, that's how we advertise, word of mouth. And my team, we spend a lot of time on intention, and I know that word's been used a lot, but we spend a lot of time ensuring that our cleaners are spot on, our hosts are, delivering with, the heart's already there. So all of that, we have an internal booking manager. All the team is so amazing that they are what is also the extension of our marketing and advertising. Because when people come and stay, they take all of that away, and the reviews are fantastic because of that. So yeah, thank you. But thank you as well for sharing.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the generosity in kind of revealing some of these key insights, I would say. Anne-Marie, so you're another one. We mentioned before you have a pretty big property here in Canggu, opposite one of the most well-known coffee brands in Canggu. What challenges have you found? Firstly, kind of explain a little bit about what a property is so people know, and then what challenges have you found over the years being a property owner of that type of commercial property that you've encountered and you've faced? Maybe choose one or two that stand out.
I think the biggest change is the demographics of the people who live here now in Bali. I have 4 villas down at Barawa Beach, quite close to Atlas and Fins, not affected by the sound. One of them has been empty for months and months now. I get a lot of cheaper tourist type people coming to town, basically wanting everything for nothing. I find I don't mean to sound bitter, but around the corner from me, literally since I've been gone in 1 month, there is another 3 4-story multi-developments going up. Now they've ripped down 4 or 5 beautiful villas and they're just packing them in. They're going up 4 stories high. These are digital nomad, young, under 35, on a budget, who want something cheap. So they don't want my villa anymore. I've been here for 25 years, and the people that used to rent my villas were families with pretty good incomes, children, dogs, drivers, nannies, housekeepers, etc., etc. And now it's a minimalist. It's swimming pool on the roof, stack them all in the 1-bedrooms, gym on the bottom, and some sort of cafe downstairs. And that seems to be the demand because of the demographics. And even if you did something beautiful, They're just not there.
Thank you for sharing. Now, does anyone else, just while I'm here, want to add to that? It's okay. All right. So, yeah, please.
I have a very positive example. I'm not related to this property at all, but I just visited it. It's brand new. It's called Magia de Uma. I don't know whether anybody heard about it. It's in Umalas. So this gentleman is an Italian, an Indonesian wife, etc. They took over beautiful land, still with rice fields views in Umalas. It's incredible, with some joglos. And they have 13 rooms, beautiful joglo rooms, etc. with a great restaurant. They became member of Design Hotel. So the demographic is pretty high. They're charging an ADR, average room rate, about 4 million rupiah, what is quite significant. And the first month's open, obviously teasing problems, but beautiful gardens around there, positive reviews, and they're running already 60%. So they get a different demographics altogether, and it is still in Umalas. Probably Canggu is already very congested, but you still find certain niches. So it's really highly recommended, I say. It's a story of success.
Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate your insight, and Anne-Marie. Really appreciate that. Thanks, everybody. Because again, like, part of why we do this is for people to get an idea of the diverse market, the diverse opinions, the diverse neighborhoods, the diverse approaches to actually doing this, right? So that's why it's really important that we hear, and I'm so happy that you're here, Anne-Marie, Michael, Ronnie, and so on, to share their insights, as well as our sister Therese, who's our special guest tonight, Sunstone Bali Villas. So any other questions that we have from the audience, feel free to raise your hand. Yes, my brother, over here. So the mic will come to you. Quick reminder, by all means, plug your company, your name, all good. Then when you can, please come to your question so we can add the value. Thank you. I'll just, you probably switch it on. All right. Next to you. All right. Well, we'll just get you another mic.
It's on right now.
There you go.
Yeah. Again, my name is OPE. So I guess my question really is for those who have been here for a very long time, and also you, Therese, around the regulatory change that is happening. And I guess when you came here like 16 years ago, it was the regulations were a lot less stringent, but now it's tightening. I guess there's positives to it. What are the downsides to the regulation that potentially discourages investment into the market? Because I've been hearing things around the minimum capital requirements to set up a business. So that, compared, for example, to a market like Dubai, whereby like just come over, zero taxes, is all done. How does that compare with Bali? What has changed, and what should we as first times be aware of in the market? Well, look, I'll kick this one off. So as I mentioned before, I'm a co-founder with 4 other people. So Therese, you probably know, Therese Nielsen, who's 7 Stones Indonesia, Sophie Digby, Yak Magazine, been here for many years, Elvira Wason, who is a sustainability advocate, been here for, again, 20 plus years. Her daughter Melati, Bye Plastic Bags, one of the most famous movements here in Bali. And then Youthtopia of Late, which is an organization that is they're creating other change makers like her, spoken on stages around the world with Obama, with UN, you name it, she's kind of done it. Who have I missed? Robert Beard, myself as well. So part of what Bali Tourism and Investment Chamber is about that you can join is 3 things. So number 1 is a clarification of the regulations. So you have 3 aspects to this which are really important. 1 is central government, 1 is regional government, and 1 is local. What central basically dictate in law doesn't always find its way to the local. Over the years, and especially after the last few months, there's been a tightening of regulations. So that means that some property investors who have been doing it a certain way in the past that hasn't been all the way legal, let's put it like that, are now being caught in the dragnet. So what you're finding now is that regulation is coming, it is moving, it is advancing, it is being enforced.
So what I would say then is number 2 is find the right advisors. Right? It's really important, right? So when we first came here, I'm laughing because I know what's coming next. Again, my wife is Indonesian, right? I thought that was an advantage. In some ways it is. I remember that when we were setting up our company, we did the good old from the UK, get 3 different opinions, right?
Yeah.
And in that 2 are at least gonna be saying the same thing. No, we went to 3 different experts and received 3 different opinions. We did 2 more and received 2 more opinions. It's like, oh my God, what do we do? This was 10 years ago or so, right? So BTIC is about saying, right, number 1 is that from government to investors, these are a clarification of the regulations, so you know what you need to do. Number 2 is basically saying, right, so as foreign investors, the landscape can be quite complicated. We hear that the governor is about to say, right, 10 billion paid up capital for whatever you're doing. Now, there's a difference here that isn't so clear, but once you know it, which over here, they already know the answer, right? Which is whenever you hear anything that is put forward in the media, you ask yourself one question. From the way that it's written, is this a wish, a desire, a proposal, or is this fact? That one thing alone will probably separate about 60% or more of what you read, and that gets the media cycle going and gets this clickbait rubbish that goes outside and does damage, actually. So number 2, BTIC is saying, right, so foreign investment, how do we make that landscape easier to negotiate? And how can we then take those opinions, ideas, suggestions to government? No guarantees it's going to become policy, but how can we take that to government, right? And then the third part of it is that then, yes, it's about policy making, right? So these 3 aspects, but just think of the most important being clarity. So 5 different opinions, none of them align. Help me, right? New person coming into to Bali, investment banking background. I want to do something that is reasonable, that's in harmony with Bali, that is culturally sensitive, and da 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 da. What do? Right? Bit of a plug for myself. So what we do, PT Carry Life Group, is a gateway to Indonesia. So that means that I spend my time in the intersection of government, of foreign investment, and community building. So because we've done 511 episodes with leaders from the co-founder of Gojek, one of the largest unicorns in Indonesia, to all the lawyers that you probably have heard of or seen, I kind of know who's who in the zoo, who's good at what, because it's not the bumper sticker, it's knowing who's good for what, for which things. That's critical, right? So I basically, I'm the intersection there, and I bridge foreign investors, Indonesian authorities, and entrepreneurship to ensure you save money, time, and effort, right? And missteps. That's the key. But you need someone like me, and there are other me's, but not that have the reach, but other service providers which know what they're doing. You need to make sure that you have one of those on your team. Just like, Therese chanced on brother, good day, you still here? My brother, right? You need someone like that. Yeah. So hopefully in those question that you answered, that you asked, there's some results. But just as a summary again, the dragnet is becoming more and more narrow. There is more and more regulation that's being enforced. Make sure that you do things as best you can the right way first time. Yeah. And then when it comes to headlines, ask yourself one question. There's 2 others, but let's not complicate it. Is that from the way that it's written, look into the details. Is this a proposal? This is what we'd like to do. Is this someone's wish? Might be politically motivated, maybe. Look into that. Or is this a fact? And just those 3 things alone, you will be able to shift most of it. And the last thing is Bali Tourism and Investment Chamber. join it, because that's the one that will give you clarity. All right. Okay. Next question. Unless you got anything to add to that.
No.
Maybe not. There you go. All right. Heavy plug there, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Any other questions? Okay, good. All right, so look, we're about an hour. That's good. So look, as we begin to kind of wrap this one up, Therese, so one thing that's clear, right? You're on the show because, again, for me, you represent that type of person who is fully in line with Bali in terms of the energy, the culture, the wanting. You have the intention to do the right thing, and you're doing your best on a boutique scale to make sure that happens. You meet beautiful men. I already know you're beautiful. I don't even know, but I can tell. Good day.
Oh yeah, he is.
I can tell. Right? I can tell. So you meet beautiful Balinese men like this one, Gede, who has that opportunity to connect you with an incredible team. And with that team, you're able to do one and then duplicate that for clients, right, in a very unique way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the name of your company is?
Sunstone Bali Villas.
Sunstone Bali Villas. So then, maybe in closing, because there's people here that probably are asking, well, what kind of client are you looking for? What kind of client do you serve? How can we get in touch with you if we're interested to find out more? So perhaps that will be my penultimate question. Then I'll come back to the last one. So yeah, feel free to answer that 3-part question.
What was the first one?
So yeah, all good. So what kind of clients are you looking for?
Yeah.
Who are your clients now? And what is it that you want to do in the future? Yeah.
I'm looking for clients who are aligned, who get me, see me, I see them, I get them. They're ready, they're open, they can get out of their own way, yet know that they're held, and they have someone to take the journey with. They're not alone in this. And yeah, that through me, there's other connections as well that can help them. You know, I've got to ensure as a business owner that I've got my everything lined up and doing it correctly. So there's the safety in that for them. I'm looking for intentional clients with heart, clients who are kind to me, my team, and to the locals, to Bali as a whole. Question 2.
You kind of answered question 2.
Okay, great.
All right. So look.
Finding me.
Yeah. How do people find you? So
we do have social, and we do have a website, and my beautiful assistant, everyone in my business is beautiful. Looky over here. We've got some postcards today that we can hand out and leave with you guys, and you can chat with me after, of course. And yeah, just get in contact. Let's have a coffee. Let's have a chat. Connect. That's how people get in contact with. I'm like an open book.
Right. So and the social media, if you let people know what it is.
Sunstone Bali Villas.
So Sunstone.
The website is Sunstone Bali Villas.
Okay. And look, last question. So we've kind of gone a bit past, present, future, right? So is there anything left? You got about a minute to think about this, right? Is there anything left that maybe something you wanted to reiterate, or something fresh that just popped into your head as I'm speaking, perhaps, that you'd like to leave people with, you know, as we close the show? It's about 45 seconds left to think about what that would be. I just want to thank our brother Guzman, Tropical Nomad. Please, a round of applause. He's by himself. He's doing it. Come on. Every week, right? If you're interested to look at the last 331 episodes that have been properly recorded, just go to here or YouTube. Though this is Instagram Live friendly mainly, but there's a library on YouTube, SpeakuP Monday. So go there and you can find out so much great information there. The second thing I'd like to say is that thank you very much for coming out in Bali conditions, sometimes not so easy to get here, traffic and so on, but wonderful audience. Thank you for playing part in that kind of getting to know you session before, and please take the time after we wrap here. We're going to do a photo, us two, and a photo with everybody, to actually speak to those who resonated with. Right, and don't be shy, because people are here, they're open, even the ones who've been here for 25 years or more. Right, have a chat to them, right, because you may not get this chance again. And the final thing, as I mentioned, next week, Health Hub Bali, the first Monday of every month. One of our partners is Dr. Patra Jaya, chairman of Bali Medical Tourism Association. There's a new hospital that Health Hub Bali has collaborated in Denpasar. It's the first integrated medical wellness hospital in Bali, probably Indonesia. So if you want to know more about that, just come and ask me, and I'll give you the details. And yeah, just keep showing up, right? Keep sharing your knowledge with other people. Keep showing up. And finally, thank you so much, Sister Therese. It took us about a year to get to this, but that's okay. For taking the leap. It's not so easy, lights, camera, action, right, to feel comfortable in an environment like this where people ask you questions and you've got no clue what they might be. And as for me, as you know, I don't script any of this. I prefer it to show up in the moment and we go from there. So I appreciate you for having the courage to show up, to be you, and again, what you do is beautiful. You're beautiful. Great to meet your team, Brother Gade. We're going to jam afterwards, my man. Thank you so much. Right,
thank you, Rob. I'm
playing
so grateful to be on the show. Thank you so much.
Over to you, sister.
I guess if I was going to leave with, there's so many things I can say. Yeah. One thing I want to say is boutique doesn't mean small, it means intentional. Yeah. But we are not interested in building all over Bali and building big, because it actually hurts my heart to see a lot of what's going on, and that's not aligned. And the other thing is that Sunstone offers everything. One-stop shop sounds tacky, but we are consulting, interior, architecture, contractors, property management, hosting, staffing, everything. So you can have the lot, or you can just pick and choose sections of that you desire, need for your project moving forward. And I'd love to chat with any of you after, and thank you for joining me so much. So appreciate it.
Therese, Clifford, round of applause. See you next week, everybody. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to clear this up real fast, and then one photo of all of us. Mic drop. Sorry about that.